Alright, hi there, Pastor Susan here once again. So last week we talked about training. We are still mother segment. So last week we talked about raising our children, and training is still, and I'm still going to go talk about training. How should we train your child? When the Bible talks about train up your child in the way he should go, and when he's old he will not depart, what did they mean? What did they mean? In SCE, the curriculum that we use, Hayward, the president of SCE, was teaching us what the Hebrews used to mean when they talk about training. And it was something that is so painful, and yet at the end of the day it's beneficial. Because it's having a palate, and having that palate in your mouth, when you're talking, it is there, like having something over and over and over again. At the end of the day, you'll have what it means to achieve the outcome, whatever you wanted. Like I said last week, I potty trained my baby when he was 3 months old. And guess what? I never suffered with diapers and all that. That was training. That was simply training. So raising, for me to have raised, I was about to say raised 4 children to where they are at today, I believe it's the training. I believe certain things I've had to make them know that this, and this is supposed to be done like this, and that. And you know, with a child, you have to keep repeating it. Shalom, I say no, don't touch fire. They will be curious enough to even try. I let my big son touch fire one time. You know, when you light the candle and they want to touch it, and you tell them, Shangwe, no. I said no, and Shangwe would still go ahead and try to touch. I said no. And so the next time I let him touch, and guess what? He never touches fire again. You know, training can also allow experiences. Because when you overprotect, and which most of us mothers do, you are not allowing the child to have certain experiences which are going to teach them certain values and ways of life. So allowing Shangwe to touch that candle that day taught him that fire is real. And guess what? I never worried about Shangwe with fire, because he learned a lesson which he carried on to who he is today. So training is allowing to certain extent some of those things that we fear to allow. I'll tell you a story which is very interesting but real. When my children were, I think my firstborn was 7. I think Shamba was 7, and then Shama, the secondborn, was 5. I took them to Nakasero Primary. And so me and the father started taking them to school. We were living somewhere around Bahai Temple, and started taking them to school. And then it dawned on me, I could see little children walking by themselves. Then I remember one day I made a decision. I said, you know what? These kids were going to allow them to come home by themselves one day. So, of course, the dad was, no way. But I waited for him when he's not around. So I gave the children transport. I said, you know what, guys? I took them to school that morning, but in the afternoon, I told them, here is your transport. I want you to move with the rest of the children. Move with them to town. You know where our taxis park? Because before that, I had told them, guys, look where we park. Look, learn. So I left my 7-year-old son with my 5-year-old son with their transport, and I told them, today I'm not picking you. I'll wait at the stage for you and we'll go home. So, my goodness, it was such an adventure. It was such an adventure. So I gave the children the transport. My son, my 7-year-old son, is so wise. He got to the transport, he gave it to the teacher to keep for him. So when time for coming home, the teacher had gone away, forgotten that he left for them transport. So the children know they went to the teacher's quarters to wait for the teacher. to be at the stage by 5, they were not there. I'm like, okay, maybe they were distracted, maybe they were not at 6, so let me wait. 6 came. The children were not at the stage. My heart started, boom, boom, my children. You know that pumping, it's pumping in your head. You can hear the heart from your head. 6 o'clock, the children were not at the stage. I got up. Boda. Those who don't know what boda is, it's a motorbike transport we use here in Uganda. So I got onto my motorbike, told this person, ride me to Nakasero. I reached Nakasero. I asked, Askari, have you seen any children around? It's coming to 7. And he looks around and he doesn't see any children, and he says, I think all the children have gone. So I thought, by the time I came home, there's a possibility they reached at the stage. So let me go back home, because I know that they can take themselves from the stage to home. Let me run home and check if they had come. Alas, they were not there. They were not at home. My heart was boom, boom. Where are my children? So I come back to the stage. Wait, 7:30, my children are not there. 8. So I call the dad. I say, help me with the children's teacher's number. And I didn't have it. Okay, I'm that mother. I didn't have the number the dad had. And he tells me, why do you want? There's a situation, the children have not come home. He's like, I want my children. I want my children. I don't know what was going on wherever he was, but I said, no, but they are coming. I was in Uganda, we say kwekaza. I was hardening myself on this, but my heart was deep. Then comes to 8 o'clock, guys. 7:30, I get another call. I say, let's go back to Nakasero. We go to Nakasero. I ask you, my children haven't reached. What is it? Then he tells me, oh, your children, I saw them going. Later when you left, I saw them going. I knew now my children have come. But now I thought if I follow them, I might miss them. So let me just go back at the stage and wait for them. My children came at 8:30. They found me at the stage. When I saw them, like, you know, if it was in your country, you'd call it bus, but for us it's taxi. Every taxi that comes, you go and check inside and see. It's a 14-seater van. You go and check inside and see, are they in? And they're not there. Each taxi that passed, I said, you know, you have all these wild imagination. What if they slept? What if the time you went to the other side, they slept and they passed and the taxi has taken them wherever it has taken them? What if became what if in my mind? But you know what I did that day? Established a routine. So my children became so independent so early that my firstborn, by the age of 13, was traveling out of the country by himself. Why? Because I allowed. So training is you allow certain, you don't overshield your child. So don't overshield your children. Allow them to make mistakes. Allow them to learn. That day they reached home, they knew that next time when we go with our money, we don't give it to the teacher. We can keep our money. And they kept their money. And that wasn't the only time they used it. The next day I let them go. I took them again and then gave them transport and said, today you come back home early. I did that. And my children became so independent so early. They take themselves wherever they are. I'm not even worried. One of the training is even training my heart, is that when I pray for these children, I've prayed, God has answered. So when I start worrying and when I start fretting, is I'm telling God that, God, you're not good enough. You're not going to do your job well enough. Maybe let me do it myself. Guys, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something. So God bless you. See you next Thursday.